Well, a lot of stuff happened this week, including a lot of price hikes, but we also got park hopping coming back, so that's exciting. Moana opens tomorrow, and tomorrow is the official 100 Years of Disney. Talking about all that tonight on ParksCenter. Welcome to ParksCenter for Sunday, October 15th. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you guys for being with us. We appreciate it. If you have not already, please subscribe to WDWNT TV and also give this video a like so that it helps people to find us. And tonight we have a panel. Yay, we got a panel starting with Stephanie. How are you?
Hi, Rob. Doing well. Hi, everybody.
Desi.
Hey, howdy, hey.
And in this corner, Shannon.
Hello, happy Sunday.
Thank you guys for being with us here tonight on the panel. Thank you guys for being with us at home. And again, we're going to be following along in the chat. So feel free to chat, super chat. We'll be watching and hearing what you guys have to talk about, including that tomorrow, and we're going to talk about the Disney 100 in a minute, but tomorrow is the official start of the Disney 100. I mean, it's the anniversary, actually. I wanted to see if anybody on this panel tonight watched the Wonderful World of Disney had Once Upon a Studio. Anybody watch that? Just me?
Not yet.
Great. Yeah, it's amazing. If you guys have not watched it, it ran in front of Encanto. I'm thinking it will be on Hulu and on Disney Plus. Originally, it was supposed to be the opener to Wish that comes out on November 22nd. So I was very happy to see that it dropped early in honor of the anniversary. So if you have not already, Once Upon a Studio, check it out. It is great. But let's get into some parks news. The first thing I want to talk about tonight is they told us some good news. And Stephanie, this happens a lot. They tell us some good news. They say, hey, park hopping's coming back. And you're like, oh, cool. And they're like, we're raising prices over here. I assume you have some thoughts on that, having a family of, like, I think 16 now. Is that what you guys are up to?
Not quite. Yes, park hopping is back, but only if you can afford it. So, yeah, I'm kind of upset. Okay, so I'm kind of a mixed bag. There are some things that I'm like, okay, maybe they raised it a couple of dollars here, a couple of dollars there. You can kind of say, I can still absorb that cost, basically, right? But then other things, they raised $30 to $45 even when you're talking about some of these tours that they go through. Now, maybe everyone doesn't want to do the tour, you know, the backstage with the Giants tour at Animal Kingdom, or the Savannah, or even the Keys to the Kingdom tour. But these are fun extra things that you can add magic to your trip with. And we like to do something different every time we go. So that was always something that when my kids are old enough, I definitely want to do. And now I'm going, I don't know. By the time they're old enough, maybe they'll price me out of it. I don't know. I think some of these things that you will reach a maximum, though, and people will just not pay $200 for some of these things.
Yeah, and what I found interesting about the tours is that they are actually doing a variable rate based on the date, which I guess that makes sense. But I mean, on a tour, you've got 10 slots, whether it's a busy day or not a busy day, you've got 10 slots. So the fact that they're doing it on date based is a little bit ridiculous to me. But they also raised the food prices, they raised parking prices, they raised annual pass prices, they raised multi-day prices. I love that they raised Magic Key prices because you can't get one, but if you have one, you have to pay a ton of money for it. So I don't know. You know, again, they did this kind of shuck and jive. They made a huge deal about the fact that park hopping is back. And that, to me, in itself, is crazy to celebrate because that was something that was owed to us already when we had the annual passes and the park hoppers before, and then COVID happened, and they were like, oh, well, we need to regulate how many people in the parks. We're not going to do park hopping. And then they came up with this weird, we think you can do it at 2 o'clock. Yeah, 2 o'clock sounds right. Weird. And then, you know, then they have the virtual queues all end at 1 o'clock so that you can't take advantage of that if you're park hopping. There's some mad science happening. And Desi, I don't know, do you feel like they've given you a gift starting January 9th, or do you feel like this is like, oh, well, finally?
No, because I have a kid who's turning 3 at the end of January. So now I've got to pay full price for his annual pass because I can't pay the renewal price for him. And it's crazy to me that they have no variation between a child AP and an adult AP. At least it used to be adults was at 11 and up. Now it's doesn't matter, 3 and up, all the same price, and it doesn't make sense, and it sucks for me as a parent with 2 little kids. So now I'm going to be paying at least 3 renewals and 1 full price ticket at this ridiculous price hike.
Oh no, it's fantastic. Good for you. The other thing that they did was they announced that that they're going to add Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway to Genie Plus at Disneyland, which is crazy because that's an attraction that was supposed to be big marquee for them. They set up virtual queue. They set up the special additional single lightning lane program for that one, and the people of California were like, eh. And so they've moved it in as a gift to the regular Genie Plus program, which is good. They should be adding more stuff to that. But also they raised the price on Genie Plus. So Genie Plus is now a minimum of $30, but because of the variable pricing, this Saturday it was $35, and it's sold out. So I don't know, Stephanie, I'm not sure we can really send a message when we're still going, okay, we'll pay that.
Oh, wait, did you call me Stephanie? I was not ready for...
Okay, let me back up. Here's what happened. In chat, I'm excuses all over the place. In chat, they were talking about Stephanie being a little quiet, and I fixed that a little bit. So hopefully that's better. Moving on. Stephanie already said her piece about this. Let's go back to Shannon.
What was the question, Rob?
Okay, if a train is traveling at 300 miles per hour. Oh no? Okay.
Goofy's train is traveling.
Yes, and there's a pie, and it's stuck in the top. Then how many Plutos get kicked into the trunk? I don't know. No, the question is basically about the pricing with like Genie Plus, because when we continue to pay for Genie Plus, which a lot of us still do because it's convenient, and then they raise the price, but then it sells out. We're not really sending the right message to Disney, right?
Yeah, no, and people are going to continue to buy it, especially the people who don't get to go often. I mean, we've said this time and time again that there is value in buying it when you're not there so that you can almost guarantee everything that you want to do. Now, I just think the whole price increase and park hopping was the most brilliant business move. Whoever had that idea. Because for me, I'm like that gif of the kid throwing the money out the window. I don't care. Increase those prices as much as you want. Park hopping is something that I never thought was going to come back. And when I heard that news, my whole day changed. And it really changes my trips. I can't wait to get back and park hop whenever I want.
Again, we had it. They restricted it. They kept raising prices on your annual pass. Now they're giving it back to you as a gift. As a gift, they're like, hey, you know what? You know what, Shannon? We're going to go ahead and do you a solid. And we're going to give you back this thing that you used to have. That's the thing that gets me when we talk about like the Hollywood Studios expansion. It wasn't really an expansion. They knocked down a whole bunch of stuff and then put a bunch of stuff back. So that wasn't really an expansion. When we see something like Mickey's Runaway Railway in California, that's an expansion. You've added something there. So I do want to say that we've got a couple super chats here. So if we can pause for just a moment. Wait, what was that dance, Shannon? Did you do that? That was funny.
Only when you play the jingle.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, well, I could do that again. Let's... Solid. Anyway, the first one's from Jungle Cruiser. Says, can we get an all-day park hopper and no reservation window at Disneyland for Magic Keys? We are still getting no love. Yes, I just want Magic Keys back, honestly, because I was like, I'm not sure I'm going to renew, so I didn't, and then they were like, oh, you can't have one. And the all-day park hopper, honestly, is one of those things that used to sort of exist, but they don't do it, and I think so they can push you into a higher price ticket. It's one of those things that they still plus out to, like, you know, to guests that come in. Like, I know I work in radio, and sometimes the radio folks will get one of those passes. It's a specialty thing that they do when they feel like it, but it's certainly not something they sell. But that would be nice, especially in those parks where you can park hop back and forth between DCA and Disneyland, it would be nice to have. So Jungle Cruiser, appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. We also have another super chat. Wait, Shannon. Tara Camino says, and I hope I pronounced that correctly, smash like now or bad luck for 10 years. Yes, that is absolutely correct. You know what? You don't want to mess with bad juju. You do not want the Shadow Man coming after you. This is definitely something that we should do. So thank you guys for the super chats. We appreciate you. One of the things that I also wanted to do is I set up a little poll here because, again, it's always interesting to me what you guys actually think. So are you getting a good value? Is Disney Parks giving you a good value? Are Disney Parks a good value is what I put in there. I'm trying to read my own writing. And so the first one, pound one or hashtag one, would be yes, I do think it's a good value. I saw this thing on TikTok today that said girl math, and it said how much it costs to go to the zoo. Have you guys seen this? How much it costs to the zoo and how much it costs to go to Disney, and then breaking it down by hour and then saying, okay, well, it actually is a good value. And I'm like, okay, I don't feel as bad now for spending as much money as I do. The second one is no way. It's not a good value. And the third one is yes. It's expensive, but I'm still going to pay it. I think most of us are that. And then the final one is it is what it is. Quite a defeatist thing to say, but that's the truth. Is a lot of cases it is what it is. So thank you guys for weighing in. We appreciate you. And then I'm looking back to see if there's doesn't seem to be working too well. So keep putting that in there. See if we can get it working. If not, I'll just
talking about the value, Rob,
I'll
really
just
quickly.
assume that. Yeah.
So back in 2017, I think was the last time that they did a nighttime parade in the Magic Kingdom. Just a daily nighttime parade, say Electrical Main Street or Spectrum Magic, what have you. But that has been a staple, I think, ever since I started going to Disney World when I was 5 years old. And it's something that sets them apart from all the other, just amusement parks around the country. And so if you look at that alone and you look at the price of the annual pass, now of course inflation is completely different, and they're trying to say, okay, we're keeping up with the cost of living and with inflation, and that's why we're raising prices. But it does feel like they're nickeling and diming you when the highest tier annual pass, I believe, was about $750 back then. And then you just fast forward, and I know we had the pandemic and caveats here and there, but my gosh, now the highest tier is going to be close to $1,200. Is that, does that sound about right? Like $500 over 5 years? I don't know. I just feel like they're nickeling and diming us, and they're not giving us as much as we had just 5 years prior.
Well, I can do you one better. There's this park called Epcot, and half of it has been behind construction walls for 5 years, but the price has been the same the entire time. So, I mean, that's the same thing, too, as like you're saying, is like, they minimized what they were actually giving us. And when we came back from COVID, we were all blocked in for so long that we were like, sure, only give me 50% of the park. That's fine. Just let me in. Yeah, we'll do, park reservations and we'll do all that other stuff. But now, it's been years. We're past the idea of lockdowns. Everybody can travel to other places now. They should be opening up all of this and go, hey, look, we're back to where we were. Not celebrate it so much and spike the ball when they do something like that. But there are still things that still aren't open. We still don't have the same amount of cast members in the park that we used to before for great service in the restaurants and the other places. The cast members that are there are amazing. I'm not saying that anything at all, but I think that, that's another thing where you used to have more people there to help you when you were there than you do now, and automation has changed and a lot of things. Sometimes I get sad when I walk into Pecos Bill and it's like step right up to the keypad, or I mean it's yes. Like it's just it's not that same vibe that you used to have. But also sometimes I like to ignore or avoid working with people, so if I can do it on my phone, that's great. But again, there's a lot of stuff that went away. Anything else that you guys want to say on this before we move on? Shannon, anything else? No, just shaking your head. Yeah. Desi, you good?
Yep. No, I'm not good, but you can continue.
Yes, I'm not okay. All right, so let's move on to to Tiana. Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Maybe you guys have heard of it. It's going to be my new Tron slash Moana. We're going to talk about it a lot. It's opening up in 2024. It's still 2023, but there's a lot of stuff that's been happening with the Bayou Adventure, including that we've got a rounded off mountain, but also this mural that they're installing. So there's a new mural that's being installed right at the Q area. If you guys listen to WDWNT News Today, Tom had talked a little bit about he feels like there's going to be like a sensory overload in this queue. But Stephanie, I'm going to come to you about this one because you live in the state of Louisiana. I know we've we've said not New Orleans, but you've been to New Orleans. How do you feel about this mural?
Right.
I'm sure you looked at it. What is your vibe for all this?
Okay, so the high points of it, it's very colorful. It's very festive. It has, music notes floating through it. And that's about all I can say. So here's the thing. We have a very famous artist that's from Louisiana. She actually grew up on a plantation, was slave from that time period, named Clementine Hunter. And we grew up learning about her in school and her artwork. My children study her in their elementary school, middle school, everything. So I really feel like if they had wanted to do this area justice, because this is the time period at which Tiana is supposed to be having this co-op, which is just astronomically in advance of civilization back in 1920, I guess. Not many people did that. But 1920, 1930, this is what I think they should have paid homage to, would be Clementine Hunter. Now, some people might look at that and think, well, that's a little bit rudimentary or something, but I'm telling you, she is a very famous artist. She's a classic, in multiple different historical books and things like that. So I feel like if they had wanted to do that, I feel like they're playing to a different audience, to today's audience, versus immersing you in that culture, in that era, as they've tried to do with their other projects in the past.
So let me ask you a side question to all that then. Because you have kids, do you like the idea, and again, this is something that came up that Tom talked about, but do you like the idea that this may give you the vibes of New Orleans? Or would you rather see them do something that is right out of the movie? More
I
animation,
would
since
rather,
this is in the Magic Kingdom.
correct. I personally would rather be stepping into the movie and being able to say I'm in Tiana's Bayou and not necessarily New Orleans proper. Because again, I feel like it's playing to today's audience versus like bringing us back to that era, putting us back into, the 1920s, 1930s.
Okay, one last question. The story in it is supposed to be taking place after the events of the movie. With a dark ride, I've always loved the idea that it is retelling the movie. You're seeing all of the things that you saw in the original movie. Even Splash Mountain that it's replacing was the events of the movie. Do you think that it was a mistake for them to go and do like an after tale, and that maybe this should have been more of a current, like, or more of a retelling of the Princess and the Frog?
Yes. So yes and no is my actual answer. And we're going to get to this later, but I have thoughts on the Arendelle experience in Hong Kong. And
Okay.
Frozen Ever After, I think actually does a good job of merging the two, because you have the Elsa story and the ice castle, and she's in her, first movie dress and everything. But then you also end with that summertime. So why couldn't they have come up with a storyline? Because you were so many levels on that ride where you're going through, the original story of Tiana. You go down into Dr. Facilier's, dark place and everything, the friends from the other side, before you get up and you go down again, and then you come into the new era. You could have the new storyline after that. I don't know why they didn't think of that. That would make more sense.
Are you ready? That song needs to be in there, and I don't know how you put it in there without Dr. Facilier. And if we're talking about it, I don't, unless he's going to make a surprise reappearance, and if so, don't tell me. No spoilers. So I'm gonna say with the poll, it looks like definitely everybody's in the same boat that we probably are. Like, I kind of hate that they raise the prices. I'm not gonna stop going, but I kind of hate that they raise the prices. Patrick and I talked about this once, and I think that he was the one that hit the nail on the head when he said, I'm too invested in Disney to stop. And that's one of those things that it's like, I have DVC and I have like a Disney Visa card that came up in a conversation when I used it the other night, and a woman who was taking it was like wanted to have a whole conversation about Disney, which is great. But like I'm too invested in Disney at this point not to do it. But also when I see the price hikes, it's kind of sad because I feel like they are a company. But anyway, side note. So anyway, about that, let's move on to droids because I know that Desi desperately wants to talk about this. I'm sure that is the case. So it started out. Here's how it started: is that there was an article that we had about a patent that came out about a robot with a two-step walk cycle, which is riveting when you look at a patent and how it's written. There's another patent in here too, but like just riveting. But then there was Disney showcased this two-legged thing at this convention, and so like that's great that they were able to show it off. But then almost immediately, it appeared in the parks. And this BD unit is walking around the parks, and they had 3 of them come in doing training. The training thing was freaking adorable. If you haven't watched the video, it's just them like coming in and doing their thing. So, Desi, I don't suppose you got to see. This was in California, so you didn't get to see it. But what are you thinking when you watch this video? What's top of mind?
I'm gonna get my tin hat out and start talking conspiracy theories now.
Yes, that's why we're here.
I love it. It is so adorable. But the fact that there are BD units in Galaxy's Edge, and there were hints to stuff that was from Jedi Fallen Order in the last Ahsoka show, I think that somehow Cal Kestis is going to show up in the Mandoverse, this new universe, like in between the originals and the sequels. I think it's going to happen. Otherwise, why have the BD units roaming around? They had a magic shot with a BD unit on my shoulder the last time I was at Galaxy's Edge. That's my conspiracy theory. And he's so cute. Look at those.
So
Those are
cute.
Adorable.
I love that they're
coming. House.
I was about to say, I love that they're coming out like kindergartners lined up in single file, heading to the heading to the playground for the afternoon. Yeah, freaking adorable. Shannon, thoughts?
Love it. But you know, the bar is set very high now. You see those droids waltz out, and you want more. You want all different characters that can move like that and interact with you like that. So I love it. I'm really hoping that they stick around and it's not just one of those things that we've seen over the years, like the dinosaur that comes walking out, or who's it, Beaker and Honeydew and Epcot. Like, I hope it's just not a passing thing and it goes away. So I have high hopes for Imagineering.
Don't we all? Stephanie, I look at this and the first thing I think is, if the Star Cruiser was still around, RIP, sorry to bring that up for everyone. If the Star Cruiser was still around, do you think that they would have play tested this at Disneyland, or do you think they would have play tested this on the freaking Star Cruiser?
Oh, 100% Star Cruiser. Yeah. I'm always jealous of Disneyland because they get the great characters, they get the great droids, whatever, is coming out new is always at Disneyland. Why don't they bring it to Disney World? Come on, people. It's great to have R2-D2 when he's there, at the Droid Depot or something like that. And it's nice to have that movement in the land, which can feel very stark and just kind of boring. So I love that. This is adorable. It's absolutely, we said it a bunch of times, but it's great.
Yeah, I don't know how, I dare you to hate them.
Yes.
It's so, but everything about it, even the story that they said was so cute. Now, usually when they have a droid, they have somebody who's controlling it, and it's always that fun game of looking around without being obvious and trying to find who the person is that's doing this the whole time,
Right.
Dressed in street clothes. In this one, they were walking behind them like they were flying drones, though. So
Aww.
this was definitely a playtest situation. But the woman who was leading them was like, "Okay, come see your friends," and they come in front of the droid depot and they're talking and they're like looking up at them, and the way they're moving just and articulated. Oh my God, it makes me so happy. And at the same time, I was really I think we're all disappointed in the fact that Galaxy's Edge kind of touted we're going to have a ton of walking around aliens that you're going to run into and droids, and it seemed like it was going to happen. And then there was that playtest they did with the droid in Tomorrowland where the little girl rode on the, do you remember that, like the blasphemy of the little girl riding on that droid? And so this is something where they're adorable, but they're really going to have to maintain this as a show, I think, in order to protect these guys when they're coming out. Because please protect these BD units. Green, blue, what was it, orange? Is that the other one? They were freaking adorable. Yeah. So again, Disney, kudos, more of this, please. This living character initiative, again, I thought was going to be something that we were going to have seen a Figment of, but now Figment is, is a costume character, and at least you get to give him hugs, I guess. But it was just, I was expecting this kind of a thing with Figment. So, moving on to the 100 years, and we kind of touched on this a little bit, not only in mentioning the Once Upon a Studio, which took place, again, I cannot stress enough. You got, grab a box of tissues and go watch this thing because it is so emotional. I love it. I'm not crying. You're crying. It was great. I got to see it at Destination D23 and could not wait. I had to watch it tonight, even though I was getting ready for the show. I had to watch it tonight because I was so excited about it. So please watch it. But for those of you who don't know, the Disney D23 is because in 1923, on October 16th, is when the studio started. So tomorrow is the actual anniversary. This whole Disney 100 Years of Wonder that we've all been crazily celebrating since January 1st now is taking place tomorrow. And some things are still rolling out, like this TikTok hub that they're rolling out, which looks very cute, very cool. So, check that out on TikTok. And then there's new bags and merchandise that are coming out for it. But then meantime, Disneyland's like, we done. We are so done with this thing. They're taking their decorations down, and the anniversary hasn't even happened yet. Happy anniversary. We threw out the decorations. I don't make it make sense, Stephanie. Make it make sense. I don't get this at all.
I think it's a slow wave. Excuse me. Like you're at the ball field, and they start the wave and it comes across, and I don't know, maybe it's going to end in China or something, go around the world. I don't know why they started it so early and why they're ending it right before the event occurs. I wish I could make sense for you, Rob, but that's what I think.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, Shannon will make sense of it. Go.
No, I found it so odd that we had that statue, what feels like a year ago, that had the incorrect quote on it, the Mickey Mouse statue in Disneyland. And they announced that we are just now getting a similar statue in Disney World, and I got very confused. So, I don't know. I have no good explanation on that.
All right. Then Desi, make it make sense.
Because it is the same statue, and they want to just save money, and instead of building a second statue, they just ship that one right on over here.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
So that's why, just because they're saving money.
Well,
I don't know. They brought out a cupcake for my son at lunch today. It wasn't his birthday. For some reason, they thought that it was, so they brought him a cupcake. So I guess that means I don't actually have to celebrate his birthday now at the end of January. So,
well, I mean, there are new rules, I guess. But again, every celebration we've seen so far, they may do like a slow release beforehand. But like October 1st, you had to stand in line for the 40th anniversary merchandise at Epcot if you wanted that day of merchandise, because that was the day that it happened. The same thing happened on the 50th at Magic Kingdom. Boy, howdy, were there lines everywhere. There were so many lines that I was like, I don't know what line I'm getting in, but I better get in one now because they're just going to get longer. And I got to the front, and I got this tattoo. No, I'm just kidding. But it's one of those things where like it always seems to start on the anniversary and then move on for a year, or in the case of the 50th, 18 months. I don't understand this one at all. And this is a more confusing anniversary. Do you think, and Stephanie, this is a question back for you. Do you think that the average guests, when you walk in and see all the 100, has any idea what that 100 means? I can almost guarantee that the Disneyland 100 anniversary, don't you think they all thought it was Disneyland's 100th anniversary?
Absolutely. I think they all thought that, and I think they think that of Disney World too, even though they just had its 50th.
Yeah. Time means nothing. Time means nothing. We're fine.
No.
All
We
right, let's.
celebrated the 50th so long that we're now celebrating the 100th.
Exactly.
But the merch was a flop too. Like, is it just me? The 100-year merch did not do anything for me.
That one wasn't cute. The ones we saw last week with the fireworks were much cuter.
Yeah, it wasn't. That's the finale stuff. Yeah, it wasn't great. As a matter of fact, my good friend Allie, who is, as you all know, my supplier, is at Disney Studios for that D23 that was happening today, I think it was, where like D23 tour of the studios, which I guess was for the anniversary. And so one of the things that she sent me was what the merchandise was that they had there, because she knows I have a problem. But I looked at all of it and I was like, thank goodness I'm good. Like, I don't need any of that. I'm good. I mean, thank you for asking, but like, I'm solid. Because again,
Positive
it's just,
steps.
Stephanie, I wish I could tell you that it was because of that, but I just looked at it and was like, I don't want this. I don't need this. I wish I could tell you that it was like because I had self-control, but they're just helping out. And to Shannon's point of the 100 stuff, wasn't that all that great? It's just my opinion, but it was just some weird color scheme with the purple and silver, and I don't know. What's the next anniversary? Disneyland's the next anniversary for the 70th. I'll make sure to save up my money for that one. So let's talk about Moana, because again, to celebrate. Okay, go with me on this one. To celebrate the fact that 100 years happens tomorrow, Epcot, the only park in the domestic park, is opening a new attraction, which should have been opened 2 months ago, but they saved for tomorrow, and everyone, including the Boys and Girls Club, have been on this attraction except for Desi. So they, but again, it's one of these things where like they had cast member previews, and they were like, let's roll it back again. We'll have more cast member previews, and then we're going to have DVC and AP previews, except on the day that Desi's there, and then we're going to pause, and then we're going to come back and do that, and then we have a soft opening. There's so many opportunities to do this, and it feels like it should have been open a while ago, but they're opening it tomorrow for the big day. Desi, are you going to be there or what?
I should have gone today. I really should have. I was in Epcot, and Eric even texted me. He was like, hey, we're going to go to the Journey of Water inspired by you. And I wanted to go, but we had to get to IKEA for, other reasons. And so I didn't get to go, even though I was in Epcot today. And I'm not going tomorrow, but hopefully I will be there next weekend. My plan is to go on Saturday. Hopefully it's not too crowded.
Yep. Yeah. If you think Desi should have gone to IKEA, pound 1. If you think that, no, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. I'm sorry. Stephanie, did you get a chance to do this one already?
No, not yet. We're going in November. I wait till after they're open and make sure they get all the kinks and the bugs out, and then I take the kids. So we're going in November.
Yeah, but don't you think stuff may be I don't know. That's the thing that gets me, and I've talked about this on the show a million times, is sometimes by the time it opens, people have figured out how to break stuff or whatever, and
That's true.
and so you don't get like the full experience sometimes, because they're like, oh, like Toontown. Toontown had its grand opening, and then they were like, oh, stuff's broken. We got to put back up walls. We got to work on it a little bit more. So I don't know. I feel like that they should pay you and your family, Stephanie, to play test everything beforehand. So,
Disney, listen to this man.
Yeah, you can have a representation across the board. You need a baby? I got a baby. You need like a toddler? I got that too. We got you all set. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah. Shannon, did you go?
No.
Okay, so just me.
I'll see it when I see it.
I'll see it when I see it. Wow.
Can you hear the excitement in my voice?
Honestly, I liked it. I thought it was fun. I think it's a good addition. I said I think it's a weird addition to Epcot, but then Kamila was like, it doesn't matter. It needs to be wherever it is, and you shouldn't complain about that. So I said, okay, I won't complain. I'm sorry. She made me sit in the corner for 5 minutes. I thought about it, and I was like, you're right. As long as we get new stuff, that's
between the land and the sea. So you're seeing the
Yes,
journey. So
and there's
I
water
think it
with no
makes
boats.
sense.
That's why she likes it.
I,
That's
I
right.
love I love that you think they thought that far ahead. That is awesome. Okay, so in racing towards finishing Epcot finally, so that they can start charging us full rates again. They are now they're working towards the next anniversary, which is Walt's birthday on December 5th, to try to get some more stuff open for that one, including the new fireworks show, which hopefully Luminous will open on December 5th. But I don't think these other things will necessarily be open in World Celebration. But we know that they're adding these tiles that are spaceship Earth reminiscent to the side of the Communicore Hall. And then they, Stephanie, they've updated the DVC kiosk, so at least
Woohoo!
I know you've been worried about that. And this cart is now refurbished, which actually looks pretty good. Honestly,
Yeah.
I kind of love this vibe that they've got. Even like the prices, and where is it? I saw the prices here. That's very unique. I like the way that that's set up, and I thought to myself immediately, they're going to have to hike up those prices soon. So I hope they made it in such a way they can just pull them off like stickers and put new ones up there.
Right?
But then finally the Walt statue is coming, and I love this picture because on the left is the picture of it at D23 Expo, and then on the right is a box as if it's like let's make a deal. Do you want what's in the box or do you want this $20?
Dear.
It's a Walt in a box.
Oh, no.
That almost seems weird, but again, BioReconstruct, which if you don't know BioReconstruct, you got to follow him on Twitter. Great pictures all the time, and we are lucky to use them on the network. But BioReconstruct is such a big name. I was sitting at Steakhouse 71 talking about BioReconstruct, explaining it to my kids, and the guy at the table next to me goes, "You talking about BioReconstruct?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, I am." And we started having a conversation. But it's exactly because of BioReconstruct that they have to put Walt in a box, because otherwise you'd be able to see it, and the secret would be out before his big day, which hopefully happens on his birthday. I hope that's the thing that happens. But Shannon, I know you were a little bit statue struck earlier. You want to talk about statues now?
I love this statue, and I don't know why people give it crap, no pun intended. But listen, they did Cindy dirty on the Wish. She looks atrocious, and I think this is a great statue. So I can't wait to see the box unveiling.
Yeah, the joke being that it looks like he's sitting on a toilet. My favorite thing is that they talked about his sight line and him looking into the park when we heard about this at I think it was Destination D23, and all I could think to myself is he's going to be looking into a park that he would not recognize because it wasn't what he asked for. Like, that's not what
Right.
he asked for. Like, if you go back to the original, he's looking and just like, it's Dreamer's Point, and he's sitting there dreaming that it would have been a city of tomorrow and not a,
Right.
not a Penn station, I guess. I don't know. I mean, maybe he would have liked a Penn station.
Penn station.
I like a Penn station. Any of these Epcot things you want to talk about, Desi?
Um, I I thought based on the concept art that he was going to be placed somewhere where you could see Spaceship Earth better in the background. It doesn't look like it's going to get as good of photos as I was anticipating based on where it is, but I'm sure I'll still love it.
Well, the thing that gets me is I hope that it is isolated in such a way that you can't go sit with him.
Oh, like
I
you
mean,
can with Roy?
Yeah.
Just on his lap?
Right,
Or
like
under
the partner statue might as well have a moat around it because of the way that I mean, you can't mess with that partner statue. The one at DCA, you can walk up and lean up on the suitcase with Walt, but this one I think is going to be up like in a planter area, but maybe they're going to have it so that you can sit up on the steps of Walt. I don't know. We shall see. Hopefully before the end of the year. I don't know. Let's move on to some studios updates. So, do you guys remember Pixar Place? Here's the thing about Pixar Place is that it's unused space, and I don't understand why we don't use more of the space. We're very limited in space that we have at Hollywood Studios, and so apparently now they've reopened Pixar Place, which, by the way, I just did the math and didn't understand that Pixar Place is the name of the new hotel, which we're going to talk about in a second, and this little area of Hollywood Studios. Somebody needs to pick another letter P word to go with this area, so it's not going to be Pixar Pier, Pixar Playland. There's nothing to do there. I don't know, but there's got to be something. Pixar Picnic Place, because all that there are right now are tables. But apparently there was an elemental mural here, which I did not get to see. But the thing about this area is, I think it should be this all the time if there's not something else there, right? I mean, Stephanie, wouldn't you like a place to just kind of sit and chill? Like, a lot of times they just close those big doors. Why do they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know why they do it, other than they sometimes have meet and greets. Frozone was there for a while. At one point, they had the incredible dance party. And I remember walking down that street there, and because it's the backside of Toy Story, like it used to be where you go in for Toy Story Mania. So people don't go back there unless you're using the bathroom. So if you're walking down the street and here they come and nobody's there to dance, so it was just us, and we're out there dancing with Mr. Incredible and Frozone. So if they do more of those kinds of activities that draw more people in and people actually know about them, then maybe it's more of an area that people will enjoy. But yeah, I do enjoy just a nice place to sit and drink Joffrey's.
Why am I thinking the ninth wonder of the world, the backside of Toy Story Mania? Like,
Right.
it's the backside of Toy Story Mania. It was kind of cool when it was there, and you had like the monkeys hanging down and the little green army men, and you had Luxo Jr. animatronic for like a day before it broke down and never came back again. And then they had, there was a lot of neat little stuff that would happen back there while you were waiting, and it used to also be a way to cut through. And now it just dead ends. That's the thing. So the other thing about the refurbishment of Disney Hollywood Studios is that they've got the Muppet Fountain refurbishment with these nice little trees, as if to say, don't look behind here. There's nothing there. And then also they're building a new snack stand where the old snack stand was, which seems like, Shannon, they said that they're going to spend billions of dollars. I didn't think that meant that they were just going to replace a temporary snack stand with a permanent one. Why are they doing this, and what would it have to have for it to matter to you? Like churros, carrot cake, cookies? What are you looking for here?
Don't you know this fandom? I mean, snacks are a top priority in terms of
Oh, my bad.
Reasons, right? Like, this is why people want to go to Disney World. It's for the snacks. I mean, people sell merch off it. People write blogs off it, so it's important. It's money well spent.
Yeah, I guess so. But again, it's funny to me that Muppets is in this little area, this little avenue now, and half of it is under construction. It is the smallest land ever made, and now like half of it's under construction. I don't know, but I'm still gonna go see Muppet Vision, right? Let's talk about the Pixar Place ... hotel, which I don't know. I like this hotel. It was the Paradise Pier. We've talked about this before. It was the Paradise Pier because it was on the other side of Pixar Pier, or what was then Paradise Pier. And then this hotel was basically something Disney bought, and they tried to turn it into a Disney hotel. Now, if you've ever stayed there, it felt very not Disney. And you could tell that it was, something that they picked up from somebody else. The elevators are weird. You have to hit the buttons on the outside of the elevator before you step in, which feels like a trap somehow to me. I don't know. But then the lobby didn't quite feel right. There was a Goofy statue there. They used to have a character nail there, but it wasn't very Disney-esque, and now they've redone it. And honestly, I'm excited about the redo that they've done here to this hotel, and it's all Pixar themed. It's still under construction, and again, no discounts if you're staying there. Sorry, but you will get lots of walls. They're changing the rooms. The pathway is all multicolored. I hope it's smooth. That's a conversation I want to have later. The back end they've made kind of more fun. There's a music loop that plays while you're there with the Pixar stuff. The lobby looks so much better. Some stuff is still behind scrim. But the one thing I love this story, like Wally. It's kind of cute. The one thing that I think is funny about all this is this soul stairway. There's a
Love it.
staircase that is this soul theming with the like the souls and the spirits or whatever going up the stairs. Um, Shannon, is this a stairway to heaven?
Oh my gosh. That's great. Honestly, what a cute little detail, especially putting the piano there. I saw this hotel back in May. It was under, I'm shocked that it's still under construction, and I did not have high hopes because honestly, even after what they've done so far, I think the outside is still a huge eyesore. But just the stairwell alone, I'm like, okay, like it's not it's not horrible. They put some work and detail in here, and I love the other hallways with the drawings, the little story like you just showed. So it's gonna be okay, everyone. We can have hope.
Well, but you didn't stay there. You just went into it, right? Because
I
you
did
had done
not.
like
Yeah,
your first kind of big trip to California, and you wanted to kind of take it all in.
yeah, yeah. No, I
Um,
didn't. I yeah. Go ahead.
what? No, I was just going to ask more about it.
No, no. What's funny to me is that I was there for a work trip, and not even Pixar Palace Place, whatever hotel, was even in the work budget. Which that hotel is outrageous for what it is. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
They all are. They all are. I mean, when you
Yeah,
go to Disney World and you go, man, I can't get like All Star for cheaper than like 125, 130 on a good day, and then you go out there and the Paradise Pier was $400 a night
it
or
was like
something like that,
400. Yes,
plus
yes.
parking. That parking is not
Yep.
free there, so if you were driving a car, then you have to pay the extra there. So it is their
Yeah.
value, but it's not necessarily a value. But it should be fun for people to go to, and the water park and the just I'm actually just excited about this redo because I think that they've taken that and done an amazing job. The one thing I'm worried about is they're going to go, great, we're done. Add $100 a room per night. Hopefully they don't do that. I think it's priced a little high as it is, so hopefully they take that into consideration. World of Frozen is coming to Hong Kong on the 20th of November. So because it's close, they're doing a lot of promotion for it, including the world's largest seated Olaf, I guess. But I mean, this is cute. This is very cute. I love this. This like this backdrop. Like this looks like a little bit of overkill. Do you need a 14-story tall Olaf and a backdrop? I feel like maybe that's a little too much. This picture from Bio Reconstruct. No, it's not. But also this. They have a lot of fun foods that I don't know why we don't have these fun foods.
Yes.
Yeah, all of these are kind of amazing. We got a look inside the stage show and a couple other places, including a look inside a POV of the inside of the ride with the actual physical faces for Anna and Elsa, which I think is to me a game changer. But I know Stephanie, you had thoughts on this entire expansion and how it works into the Frozen mythology.
I freaking love this. I love everything about it. I think it's wonderful that it has incorporated the river and the fjord and everything that they're building into it. I watched every POV that I could. I wish I could be there on opening day. But seriously though, I love the color because a lot of, when you're talking about ice and snow, it's all like blues and greens and grays. It's kind of dreary looking, but they brought in a lot of color, which is very Norwegian, in fact, the different buildings and things like that. And then the the um the dinner, this sit down, I forget the name of the inn, but it's gorgeous and it looks like you are coming right into their parlor and with all the family. Yes, exactly. The food looks good, which I have some things to say about Akershus. you know their breakfasts are fine, but the Norwegian, traditional Norwegian lunch and dinner is a little bit off-putting sometimes. So but these foods, I think that their offerings are very kind of middle of the road. Pretty much everybody can get on board with that. I think it's gorgeous. And honestly, hot take, why don't they put this at the Magic Kingdom? in the expansion, because I think this would fit
Mm-hmm.
in so perfectly with expanding out Fantasyland. And yes, I know everyone wants a villains land. My hot take is villains in fantasy worlds needs to stay within their original stories. That's what I think, because you're going through, you're seeing Ursula getting harpooned. Like, you don't need to go meet Ursula then. So I think if there's no Anna and Elsa presence at Magic Kingdom, so why don't they just add this to the back of the Liberty Square area? I think it would work wonderful. Uh-oh.
Sorry,
Muted.
stop making sense immediately, if you wouldn't, if you don't mind. That would be great. But here's the thing. I want to counter on that before we move on to. I want to hear from Desi and Shannon on this too. But I want to counter on that in the fact that, like, they seem to not have the vision for this. In other words, there's a Frozen sing-along at Hollywood Studios, and then there's the Frozen attraction at Epcot. You've already and the meet and greet at Epcot. You've already kind of started spreading that around. Same thing with Star Wars. I feel like there should have been a Star Wars theme park. Like, I feel like it was
Yes.
big enough that there should have been an entire theme park. I know Desi completely disagrees. She thinks they should downplay Star Wars, but no, I'm just kidding. But honestly, like, they should have done that. There should have been a Pixar park. I mean, Toy Story
Yes.
Land, but Toy Story Land, Cars Land, like, do all that kind of stuff the way the fifth park at Epic Universe is. I mean, the third park at Epic Universe is starting to be, and there should have been a fifth gate. But it seems like all that's short-sighted. So I feel like it's almost too late to do World of Frozen, and I feel the same thing about this whole Zootopia movie that they're putting into the Tree of Life, because I feel like if they're putting the Clawhauser animatronic in the Tree of Life, what they're saying is, we are not doing Zootopia Land. We're not doing
Right.
that. And they've already basically said that, but they're kind of locking in that decision by putting that there. So I think that they've kind of done that, which is sad. I agree with you. It's one of those things that I would love to see. Hot take, though, great opportunity to put it into Disneyland as part of the Disneyland Forward. So I think that's something that they could still do, and it could still be here, so we could see it. Desi, any thoughts on Hong Kong?
It looks gorgeous, and I hope that they just shut down our Frozen ride and update those animatronics.
Yes.
Because they look so much better. The glowy faces creep me out. And I think it would probably be fine to also have some Frozen presence at Magic Kingdom. I mean, Moana is in the Magic Kingdom Cavalcade. She's got a meet and greet at Animal Kingdom. She's got her Journey of Water at Epcot. She's in Fantasmic at Hollywood Studios. She's everywhere. I guess why not put Anna and Elsa more places too?
She is everywhere. That's really what people have been saying about her. Yeah, let's move on. We're talking about new foods at the Animal Kingdom. We knew that they were doing this. We got the little preview that October 11th there would be new foods at Animal Kingdom, which I didn't know we needed. But, you know, I'm always happy to see new offerings. I mean, I feel like there have been pretty good offerings anyway at Animal Kingdom, and there's enough
Yes.
stuff there that I would eat, and a lot of stuff there that I wouldn't eat. So I think it's the right mix. But the one thing that I wanted to point out, and I'm going to let you guys talk about which ones you guys think are winners here in all the new food. Then we've got all these reviews on our website, WDWNT. The stuffed pancake sandwich at Drinkwallet. First problem I have here, I love, by the way, let me be very clear. A McGriddle is the fastest way to my heart. I love a freaking McGriddle. I mean, whoever invented the idea of let's put your breakfast in your hand and just fully, yes, I love that. So that it kind of reminds me of that. But Drinkwallah is a station unto itself. I don't think they have a kitchen. So the fact that they're serving hot breakfast in a place that usually has frozen Coke is a little weird to me. But then when I look down at this sign that says with sausage and guava paste, all right. You had me at sausage. You lost me at paste. Stephanie, what are you liking on this list?
Yes, I agree. I did look at that and thought my children, like you, that love the McGriddle, they would love this, except for the, sans guava. So if they did insert a little bit of some maple syrup, like flavoring into the pancake, yeah, I think that's a winner for sure.
All right, Desi, thoughts?
First off, I would like to clarify, I did not say we have enough Moana. I just said that maybe we don't have enough Anna and Elsa.
No, we all heard you very clearly. You said no more Moana, no Moss.
I think McGriddles are gross, so there's no way I'm gonna like this.
Oh,
But if it didn't have the sausage, I would probably like it because I think I would like it if it just had the guava paste.
No. Like a
Just saying,
snack. Yeah.
paste. I mean, like you're trained in kindergarten not to eat paste, and now here we're eating paste.
I never
It's a
went to
travesty.
kindergarten.
Um, okay. Let's go to our wait. Let's go to our bougie correspondent.
I want to just say you're welcome to everyone out there because I feel like I'm single-handedly responsible for some of these changes. Because when I get those surveys, I take them so seriously. And breakfast options in Animal Kingdom have been atrocious for years. The only thing that you could get aside from Starbucks is a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit pre-made. Every single cart, snack stand, whatever, sold the same thing. I'm like, I don't like sausage, so I don't want a sausage, egg, and cheese. And now that they're pulling out the egg and cheese croissant, they're going big with this pancake thing. I love to see it. I love the options. Animal Kingdom is a very early rope drop morning, and you need breakfast options.
Yes.
You're welcome.
You can send all your thank yous
You're
to WDWNT Queen at no. Honestly though, I love Tusker House. That's my answer to that. It's literally one of my
That's a
favorite.
sit down, no?
I know, but like
Yeah,
I
no one's
I'm I
got time
would
for that.
I was gonna say I'm surprised you actually darken the doorstep of a counter service. I'm a little shocked here. I know that I know that you like a certain style, so I'm surprised that you're like,
I'm out of
nah.
that park by 10 a.m., baby.
It's called efficiency. Get to know it. So 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 this is you're doing this one right here, Shannon. Like you're responsible for this.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
It looks like the Animal Kingdom Food and Wine Festival is what it looks like over there. So that's exciting stuff.
Looks like breakfast
Speaking,
tacos.
hey, now you've gone too far. So let's talk about everybody's favorite is tiki mugs, and every time I think of tiki mugs, Shannon, I always think about your story about like when you went and you were so excited that there was a tiki mug drop the day you were there, and you went and lined up at Trader Sam's Grotto and ran into Jason, and it was the best day of your life and all that kind of
It
stuff. I
was.
always think about that when it comes to these. So they have a new one. It's going to be an Ursula. Tiki mug. This one looks unnecessarily massive. I'm just going to say
I
that right
don't
now.
get
It looks very large. So I think it's Disneyland Hotel will have this one first. But Shannon, thoughts as a tiki expert?
I, you know, I've never met a Trader Sam's tiki mug that I didn't like, but I think this is it. I don't get it. I
Oh.
don't really get, I know. Like I get Ursula, she's a sea witch. We're talking about nautical things, but it's ugly and I don't understand the Ursula tie-in. I'm sorry.
Because it has the ball that has your voice in it. It really
Oh,
should have
that
a
is
little
cute.
recorder, and you could just talk into it and then put it there, and it just
Ooh.
says the whatever you want it to the entire time. It doesn't do that. I'm not saying that. Um, Desi,
It's
do
gonna,
you run?
it's,
Do you run? Do you get tiki mugs at all, or does your husband say
Uh,
no, or you make an exception
no,
for Ursula?
no. I don't think this counts. This is my only tiki-ish mug. Mostly because my kids are too young for Trader Sam's, and I never want to wait in that line. That's the only reason I don't have any tiki mugs. I do love the look of tiki mugs. This one's fine. I think it would be cooler if rather than having the little ball in the middle, if it came as one of those bubble drinks, you know what I'm talking about, and then you like pop it and then it turns all smoky. I think that would be really cool. I,
It doesn't.
I would buy that drink.
Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you, but it doesn't. Stephanie, thoughts before we move on?
I agree with everybody. It looks like you can have two people share a drink out of that thing, the giant cauldron.
And before COVID, I would have said that's adorable. Um, let's. let's move on then to third party tours. I found this to be very interesting. I was excited that Stephanie also found this very interesting. So I can't wait to hear your take on this in particular. But apparently Disney, according to our article, sat down with people who do third party tours and gave them these rules and said, no, you can't do this anymore. And the first thing that I'm thinking of is, why didn't we get in on this and try to like offer third party tours ahead of time? That would have been cool. Or also like the Brazilian tour groups that walk around, and how does this affect them? There are rules that don't apply in like Shanghai. We've heard Tom and Jason talk about going to Shanghai, and like people like hanging out in the Alice in Wonderland maze and selling like off-brand Disney T-shirts at a like a price. And I'm like, how does that happen? I can't imagine a world where that would happen at Disney, because at Disney World, because it's like private property, and it just, there's a lot of things in this list of rules you can't do that include like interacting with guests as a character. Who's doing that? I don't know who's doing that, but all of these different rules are out there. But the third party tour thing, I was like, that's something I feel like I could have done myself, and like walked people around and shown them way too many hidden Mickeys and all the kinds of history they didn't care about and all that stuff. But they're cracking down on that to the point where they're looking to trespass them. So Stephanie, when I asked you about this, you were like, let me talk about this. So I cannot wait.
So about a week ago, we were at a conference for my husband in another country. And one of the conference goers, we were standing there waiting for a tram kind of situation. And I happened to overhear him talking to another conference goer. And he said that he paid a third party to go on a tour recently to Disney with him and his family. He said, oh, it was so expensive, but my gosh, it was worth it. And these people know what they're talking about. They take you around, they handle everything for you, and this kind of thing. And the whole time I'm thinking, you think that's expensive. You don't know what I pay for the real ones at Disney. But anyway, so here's the thing. I read some Disney blogs after that, Diz blogs about it. And basically, there are a couple of different ways that they were allowed to do this, or getting around the rules, so to speak. So basically, if you don't know what you're doing at Disney, you're paying the person to chauffeur you until you cut through here, go through here. Now that they have Genie Plus out, I guess they're handling the Genie Plus for you, because that in itself can be so confusing. So you're paying them $200 an hour or whatever to do that. Boarding groups, you're paying them to get a boarding group. I did read that somebody said that a hardwired Ethernet landline is faster, and so you can get the boarding group easier. Since I have so much trouble getting boarding groups for my large family, then maybe I should bring my computer and Ethernet cord to the hotel room the next time I go. But maybe you're paying them for that. They also handle like dining reservations, make sure you get to those on time. But the kicker is, some people were misusing the DAS, and that's the problem, because these people were getting through on their return times, even though they did not technically have a DAS individual in their group. That these third-party peoples were misusing the system to try to get their people through. So I think that's a good thing that they are cutting back on that. However, if you're just paying for chauffeuring around the parks, telling you where to go, paying for your dining reservation, paying for them to personalize assistant, so to speak, to utilize your Genie Plus for you, then hey, it's your $1,000 or whatever, $200 for 5 hours.
Well, there's so many different things to know, and we've talked about this a million times, is when you're going to the park, if you don't go all the time, you need to know about the park reservation system still, and you need to know about Genie Plus versus Lightning Lanes versus, the single one-off Lightning Lanes versus virtual queue. It can be a lot. For us, and we go all the time, it seems like a lot sometimes, like, oh, I got to get up at 6:55 to get that VQ. It can be a lot. So it would be nice to have somebody who's worrying about that for you, but I thought that was your travel agent, and also they don't usually come into the parks with you.
Exactly.
So it seems a little sketchy. However, there was one instance where Desi, before they closed down the Star Cruiser, was ready to be your personal guide.
I know. I'm sitting here listening to this, and I'm like, man, I could be getting paid for this stuff that I do for free for my friends.
Yes.
I need to tell them to start ponying up. Except
Well,
they would
you know
never
what?
do that DAS thing. That's sketchy. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. So final conversation of the night is about Universal, actually, and not specifically about Disney. But Universal is starting to test face recognition software to get you into the park, which is so funny to me because there's so many different ways that we have turnstiles now. I think that at Dollywood they still like crank you in when you. No, I'm just kidding. But the turnstiles are one of those things that at Disneyland they're still the traditional turnstiles, and they take your picture, and they will use the magic band, but they usually don't. They just usually you scan in with your card and then they check your picture. It's very manual. And so then at Disney World, as you know, you go and you put your band or your card on, and you put your finger on to test it. But Universal has actually been checking IDs, I think, up until now for some of their stuff. So, excuse me. So they've got this new thing that is kind of a face analyzer, and part of me is like, oh wow, this is the future, and the other part of me is like, oh wow, every iPhone in the world has this. So like I feel like in the like the late 90s, early 2000s, fingerprint and facial recognition stuff was so hit or miss, but apparently there's enough into it now where people feel safe in doing this. I don't know. I mean, it seems a little bit weird. Desi, do you have any thoughts on this one? I mean, when you go visit the parks, it might be a little bit easier. I can assume with little kids, it's harder to get them to do the fingerprint sometimes. And Stephanie's not her head on that one.
Well, I always use my finger for the fingerprint thing instead of theirs. But I also wonder, how does it work with little kids? Because their face changes so much as they get older that would be hard to do, I feel like. And also, what about people who just look a lot alike? Maybe somebody's got a twin. Does that mean that their twin can just get in? Because at least with your fingerprint, that's like you know for sure.
Right. Yeah.
This is going to sound terrible, but I have a friend who, when he was in college, he said that he would go to Disney all the time with somebody else's picture or, their driver's license or whatever, because it was just another Asian guy. So he's like, oh, that's all the cast member sees, and let him right in. This was a long time ago. We're talking like the 90s. So
I love that you're immediately trying to figure out a hack into this one. You're like, do I have a doppelganger? Do I have somebody who looks like me? Can we just buy one pass and share it? I don't know. Is that a thing? Stephanie, thoughts?
So did you know that when they're scanning your fingerprint, they're not actually they're taking a picture is what it is. So you're trying to match up your picture again whenever you put your finger back onto it. So yeah, I think I agree with you, Desi. It's easier to just have the adult use their finger than the little kid, for sure. But again, if they're already just taking a picture of your finger, what is the difference in taking a picture of your face? So I think it's fine.
Yeah, and we'll close this out. Shannon, final thoughts on that one?
Yeah, well, I know people find this to be controversial. I think it has its pros and cons, but I think there's also a safety aspect of this. So I would like it. I think I could see it coming to Disney. I'm tired of sanitizing my finger after I put it on the little scanner. So
Yeah, it's funny. I almost prefer Universal's bag check because it's like a miniature version of the airport. Where you put your bag in and they run it through and scan it. When Disney was doing bag checks, they were like they were digging into your bag and basically pulling everything out. Now they have the kind of touchless situation where you just walk through and it scans you really quickly. But I cannot figure out for the life of me how to keep from getting sent to the desk. I mean, no matter what I have in my bag,
sister too.
It's every time. It's like, what is it this time? But sometimes they don't want to tell you what it is. Sometimes they're like, oh, we can't tell you. Or we don't know. But it's
always
sometimes
a glasses case. That's what it feels
glasses
like to me.
case,
Umbrella.
two fuel rods sticking together apparently does it. Too many pins, if you like brought some pins to trade, will do it. I mean, I could tell you, I've got a list, but it's so funny to me that like I prefer the let me drop my bag in and let Universal like flood it with like radiation on the way out so that I can just move on, as opposed to walking through this thing. I'm kidding. It's not radiation. Don't say anything. But when you go through those other things, I thought it was a fantastic idea, but I get nervous every time I walk through those now. Every time I'm like, is it going to be me? Is it going to be me? And it usually is. And it's usually like then I have to go over and wait. And at Animal Kingdom, last time I was there, I had to wait in this huge line. And there was this girl at the front who turned around.
Suspicious.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
I know what it is. I think it's your medallions, Rob.
Yeah? You think so?
Yes.
You think it's these?
It's those.
I always keep them close by. Always keep them close by, Stephanie. All right. So thank you guys so much for hanging out tonight. We appreciate you. If you are one of our WIGS members, we love our WIGS, the WDWNT Interglobe Society. Thank you guys so much for being WIGS members. If you want to be a part of that program, you can go to patreon.com/WDWNT. Become a part of the family. Hang out with us. We have a post show tonight for our WIGS members, and we love hanging out with you guys and doing kind of some extra innings with you. But again, thank you guys for being WIGS members, and thank you on the panel here for being here. We appreciate you. Also, Deep in the Plus this week. If you guys are tuning in, we're going to do a behind the attraction with the Haunted Mansion. Week after that, we're going to do the new Haunted Mansion movie. So if you join us for Wednesday night, 9 p.m., Deep in the Plus, do your homework, watch those. But again, can't say enough. If you haven't seen it already, go watch Once Upon a Studio. Would love to hear what you guys think about that one. But again, thank you guys for here. Appreciate you guys. And we will have a quick post show. But other than that, have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, that's awesome, Stephanie and Shannon.
I never sing. People would unsubscribe if they heard me singing.
Okay.